Welcome to the She Doesn't Settle podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Travis, a health, leadership, and success coach, competitive athlete, and proud mom of two wild boys. On this podcast, I'll bring you thought-provoking interviews and mini lessons that help you proudly declare what you want, create a plan to make it happen, and put your health and well-being first. Well, hey friends, welcome to another episode of the She Doesn't Settle podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Travis, and I am so happy to be here. Thank you for tuning in with me today. I have a really fun, quick topic to dive into that I hope you really enjoy and find helpful. But before I do, I want to let you know about something that's coming up on my end. I have been doing some changes and tweaks and actually kind of a complete overhaul to the She Doesn't Settle group program. I wanted to make this different and special and new. And so I've created completely new training and coaching format and flow. And I want to offer it as a beta test because if I can get 10 women into this, to test it, to see how it goes, to get feedback, that will be incredibly valuable to me as I continue to roll it out over the years. So it's still a 6-month program, which is also kind of a test for me because typically I do longer programs. It's bi-weekly coaching sessions, group coaching sessions. You can add on one-on-one, though it's not required. And what are we doing? We are meeting and working towards helping you prioritize your overall well-being, meaning mental, emotional, physical health, while you work on your personal and professional goals. So this is not new work on my end. However, this is a new approach and I'm super jazzed about it. So I'm looking for 10 women who want a crazy discount because, again, you're doing me a favor by participating. There'll probably be bonus calls just because I really want to see what works and get that feedback. So a great opportunity to jump in, get support to help you work on basically all the things you need to be successful, right? So we're going to talk about identity in this podcast episode, and there's a clear tie-in to diversifying your identity in order to make sure you're healthy. This will be one of the things we're going to discuss. But along with that, we're going to use the Enneagram because you know that's a huge tool that I use and value tremendously for my coaching. So many things that we're going to throw into this. So if you find that you are dragging, you have so much fatigue, maybe you have mental fatigue, maybe you're having trouble communicating what you need, maybe you're having trouble setting boundaries, maybe you are doubling down on your career so much that you've lost your ability to take care of yourself and you're not really even sure how to get back to that, right? The idea is you can have both, right? You can take care of yourself and you can still kick ass in your career. But we can't do any of that if we're not prioritizing our well-being. And the challenge is a lot of companies have cultures that are creating burnout and it's not helping you, right? And so in this program, I'm going to help you prevent that and protect yourself if you do work in a culture that maybe doesn't prioritize well-being as much as they should, right? Okay, so here's what you do. I don't have an official website because this is really in the testing stage. So you can email me, kelly@kellytravis.net. Just put beta test in the subject and say you're interested and I'll give you all the details. Or you can find me on the socials @with Kelly Travis and send me a DM about the beta test and I'll give you all the details and we'll chat about it. There's no pressure. I'm really excited to get this off the ground, but it's going to be really relaxed and I'm going to make sure that it works with your schedule and doesn't cause overwhelm and all of those things that we're trying to avoid. So let me know. I'm super excited about it. And the goal is to kick it off by, in a month, middle of May. Okay. All right, let's talk about identity. So this is a topic that I'm constantly talking about with my clients and working with them on, because not only does it affect our health and well-being, but it also affects our ability to move through challenging times. So too often we place a lot of emphasis on one aspect of our lives, maybe two, right? Maybe you put all your energy into being a mom and a business owner or an employee. Or maybe you place all of your energy in being a partner to your significant other and an employee, right? Whatever it is. Maybe it's just one thing and you double down so much in that area, you've kind of forgotten all the other parts of you, right? That's what we're talking about here today. So this idea of diversifying our identity comes from a woman named Patricia Linville, and she calls this self-complexity. It's a research term that basically refers to having multiple solid components to your identity, and it suggests that the more self aspects we have, the more diverse we make our lives and can identify with different parts of ourselves, whether they're social roles, relationships, physical features, or the goals that we work towards, the more resilience we have, the less fear of failure we encounter, and the less likely we are to kind of fall into a rut when things don't go well in any one area or activity, right? So what we want to avoid, and what I think I've kind of emphasized, is defining ourselves by any one activity or title, because it makes us vulnerable. It doesn't go well for us if we only have one thing or two things, and one of those things doesn't go well, has a challenge, kind of goes south, because we lose our sense of self. So this happened to me early on in life. As some of you know, I was or am a competitive runner, and that part of me started very young. I started running when I was 12, I think, but really got serious with it once I entered high school. I went on to run in college on a scholarship. Runner was what I identified as. In my senior year, I was voted most athletic. Like, athlete was my identity. I was going to college on a scholarship to run. That's all I cared about. And because that's all I cared about, two things happened. One, I doubled down so much on that one area. I made myself sick. Now, there's a lot more to this. But two, when I lost that, I had no idea who I was. I had always been a runner. Kelly Travis was a runner. So when I had to drop out my sophomore year of college and had to get help for an eating disorder that nearly took my life, I was so lost and so confused about who I was that I had a really hard time pulling myself out of that, and wrote a lot about how I didn't know who I was without running. Like, I placed all of my value, all of my self-worth in my ability to run fast. And when that was taken away, I didn't know who I was, right? So this is a very dramatic example, but it paints the picture of what happens when we double down on one thing and we forget every other part of ourselves, or don't invest time and energy in other parts of ourselves, right? So this is important on many levels. If we have a diverse set of identities, then, and in this example, let's say I had also put a lot of value in myself as a friend, as a daughter, as somebody engaged in the community, as a student, right? All of these things, then losing this one thing wouldn't have felt so traumatic, right? I would have had less negative emotions about it, and I would have been able to navigate it a little bit better. Now, mind you, I had a very serious disease, and there's a lot of complexities to this. So while it's a good example, it's a bit dramatic. But we can look at this from any aspect, right? I know a lot of women who double down on their career or their business, and in the process of doing that, because they're trying to get to the top, to get to that next level, to reach a certain level of success, they lose the other parts of themselves, whether that's as a community member, as a friend, a neighbor, maybe as somebody in a relationship, somebody who's creative and, likes to do other things, maybe somebody who is active, whether that's like running or hiking or playing a different sport. When we are so so narrow focused and so just in that zone of focusing on one or maybe two things, we lose the other parts of ourselves. And so it's really important to make sure we are putting as much energy into those other things so we don't lose ourselves. We don't feel really crappy when stuff doesn't go well, right? We've seen it happen. Maybe you have doubled down on your career or, are really working hard to move up in your company and you've had a setback. Maybe they did layoffs. Maybe you realize you don't actually want to be in this career anymore, right? But because you've put so much time and energy into this part of who you are, you don't have anything else to kind of lift you up, to put your energy and time into because you've let it all go, right? And so the point that I'm really driving home here is to make sure that you pay attention or grow and build the other parts of you, right? So you can be a lawyer and a mother and a friend and a partner and a daughter, and you can have professional goals and you can claim the personality traits of hardworking and creative. And you may also be a writer or a painter or a tennis player or a musician, right? Those are all just as important when it comes to staying resilient, navigating challenges, finding joy in other parts of your life, right? The other part that is bound to happen when you double down in one area is you go so hard, you let your well-being go, right? We see this all the time. I'll focus on taking care of myself when, right? I'll get back to the gym after blah, blah, blah. And so not only are we lacking the diversity in who we are, but we're also cutting off our ability to take care of ourselves. So there's a couple of reasons why it's so important, right? To diversify. And, Patricia Linville found that there are tremendous benefits in these self aspects or self-differentiation. Having higher self complexity is vital to navigating the difficult parts, right? We're less prone to depression, perceived stress, and occurrence of illness following high stressful events because we've got that diversity in place. So what do we do about this? How do we make sure that we don't just have one single, maybe two identities, and in fact, we have a lot of diversity here, right? What do we do? Well, the first thing that we need to do is to take inventory of all of our identities, right? So name them, claim them, and maybe acknowledge any that you're overly reliant on for your self-worth and value, right? So today, I can name my identities, and there are a lot. I'm not just a runner. I am a business owner. I'm a coach. I am a parent. I am a friend and a neighbor. I am a partner to someone. I am a writer. I'm creative. I'm hardworking. And, there are more on that list. So I can give the example now that I was in the middle of training for a big goal for a half marathon, and I got injured about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago now, and completely sidelined. But I navigated that so much better because I have so many other things that I consider myself, right? So I leaned into my writing. I leaned into my friendships. I spent more time with, people that I haven't seen in a while and in the community. So I didn't lose myself because I knew that that was not the only thing that made me me, right? And so what I want you to do is make a list of all of your identities and then acknowledge, is there one that maybe I'm a little too reliant on to feel good about myself? There probably is, because we usually have that, and that's okay. Like, you can have one that you really kind of double down on because we're human, we have goals, right? So maybe you're doubling down on your career because you're trying to build a business or get a new role or work towards a promotion. That's okay. If you have other baskets, we'll just say, of who you are and identities, right? So that you can keep them all a priority, or at least acknowledge them and spend time in those areas more than just like once in a while. Because what happens is we let those go if we don't, right? And then we find ourselves in that place where, oh my God, I've put all my time and energy into this one part of me, and I've lost all the other parts of me. This is why when we have conversations or I have calls with clients, and sometimes they'll go, I don't even know who I am anymore. I've lost myself, right? Because they spent and have spent so much time in one area of their life, pushing, and have kind of let everything else go. And we need that diversity to overcome challenges, to navigate difficult times, to manage that stuff as we move forward, right? So it makes us feel good to know that we're like diverse and we have all of these other aspects of ourselves. So really important to take that time. Now, once you've identified all of those identities and which ones you might be overly reliant on, think about how you can, or what you can do to diversify if you don't think you have a lot of identities or you've kind of let them go, right? So maybe you used to be somebody who was super active and went to the gym and loved to lift weights. You can bring that back, right? Maybe you used to spend a lot of time playing the piano, but you've lost that. Or maybe you were super engaged in your community and you want to bring that back. Or maybe, you just kind of let go of some friendships and it's time to bring those back. Think about that and really think about, who am I as a person besides being an employee or a business owner or a mother, right? Or any number of things. Who am I to the people I care about? What are my passions, right? What are my career goals? Think about those things. And then ask yourself, What are the self aspects? What are the identities that make me feel good about myself on a regular basis that maybe I don't acknowledge? So maybe you have a really challenging relationship with your boss, which makes things hard, but you know you're a really good manager or a mentor to someone that works for you or outside of your workplace, right? Think about those things. And then ask yourself, what is it about me that makes me resilient? Identify those traits, those parts of you that are your identity, part of your identity, that you can acknowledge and like tuck away so that you can refer to when you find yourself feeling a little lost. Okay? Like I said, it's totally okay to put all your eggs in one basket, to double down on one thing, because we go through seasons of that, right? And that's fine. But you have to have those other baskets to go to if something changes, if things go south, right? Remembering that if any one aspect of your life is affected, job, relationship, anything like that, there are still other aspects of your life that you can draw strength from. Your passion for something, extracurricular activities, relationships, and those will enable you to fight off any negative feelings or feelings of self-doubt or feeling less worthy or valued. So ideally, we work to keep all of these baskets strong so that when things don't go well in one area, we can rely on the others to pick us up and help us navigate through the challenge. So the bottom line is our willingness to take risks, our willingness to like try new things or to put ourselves out there comes from not identifying too closely with any one pursuit or activity, right? Because it's not all just based on this one thing. It's not that one thing that makes us who we are and where all our value lies, right? There's so many other things. So pay attention, get honest with yourself, and acknowledge if you're really kind of counting on one part of your life to feel good about yourself. And then start to expand, start to build on that, and really think about what those other aspects could be. And maybe one area could be your well-being. It could be being active. It could be getting involved in something that helps you move, and really considering that to be a part of you, because it has two benefits, right? One, it's another identity. Two, it's going to support your well-being and your efforts to grow in those other areas. Okay. Hopefully that helped. Hopefully you get what I'm trying to say and you start to think about yourself as someone who is multidimensional and has so many parts of you that people love and value and appreciate, and that you should do as well. Okay, so reminder, if you want to check out the beta test and consider this, I would love to talk to you and give you the deets. I'm very excited about it and cannot wait to kick it off. So let's go. And also, if you love this episode and you have a friend or a colleague who could benefit from listening, please share. And if you're feeling extra spicy, I would really appreciate it if you headed over to that little spot where you listen to podcasts where you can just rate, like click the stars, or even leave a little review. That helps She Doesn't Settle get in front of other people, or so I've been told, so we can grow. And that is the goal here as I continue to do my work and grow and build and support others. I would love to just get in front of more people. So hopefully you're feeling spicy. And if not, that's okay. You can do it a different day. Thanks so much for tuning in with me. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you next time. Peace out.